Have 11 a.m. We can call this meeting to order for the Administration Committee, the San Lorenzo Valley Water District on June 15th, 2026. Please call roll.
Alina Lane.
Here.
Mark Smalley.
Here.
Mark Olson.
Here.
Cheryl Adams.
Here.
And Shelley Tanton online.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you.
All right. Any changes or deletions to the agenda?
Yep.
All right. This portion of the agenda is for oral communications from the public. We have no one in the room and no one online. We can move on to new business, and we have our first one, which is the in-kind donation policy. I believe Jesse, you're taking that.
All right. The purpose of this agenda item is to discuss the proposed in-kind water service policy. This policy will establish clear guidelines and procedures for evaluating requests from community organizations seeking donations of water service from the district. The district has provided in-kind water service donations to local community events for more than 15 years. Historically, the district's largest event has been the Redwood Mountain Fair. Additionally, the district has supported several other community events in recent years, including Bites and Brews, a fundraiser benefiting Boulder Creek Elementary, and the Ben Lomond Village Market, organized by the Ben Lomond Village Alliance. Participation in these events provides the district with valuable opportunities for positive public outreach while supporting local nonprofit organizations. Staff believes that adopting a formal policy will promote consistency, transparency, and fairness in evaluating future requests for in-kind water service donations. Staff's goal today is for the Administration Committee to review and discuss the proposed policy and recommend that the Board of Directors consider its adoption at future meetings. That's it. Open up to discussion.
All right, thank you. Nice. You want to start off with Cheryl?
Sure. I think it's I love this. I love this policy. It's good to have it all down in writing so everyone knows, what the procedure is. And hopefully this will eliminate some of those requests having to go all the way to the board. Yeah, so I'm really happy to see this. I had just a couple of things. Under eligibility, you have nonprofit organizations exempt from basically 501c3 or nonprofits. Schools and education institutions, government agencies, community-based organizations. My question is that, are there CBOs that are not nonprofits? Because I thought they all were. Maybe it's just a redundant thing, that's all. I may be just being pedantic, I don't know.
I'm not sure if there's any. I think we're just kind of leaving it open-ended if there was an opportunity.
Covering everything, yeah, okay. Conditions of approval. You got 3 bullet points under number 7. Condition. Proper use of district equipment and facilities, compliance with water conservation measures, and payment for any damages caused to district property. So we're talking about the actual tanks and things like that are happening when when the water's being donated, that they're taking care of the property that way. Is that what?
Yeah, I mean, right now we have 2 means of supplying water service. We have our water station, which is basically I don't know if you've seen it out front here in downtown Boulder Creek, but it's basically a sink with large faucets coming off it. Okay. So you can get a lot quicker than just one drinking fountain for a whole event. And then for the Mountain Fair, we bring in the tank.
I've seen that.
With it has little pumps and the cooler and all that. So, districts just, when we're there, we take care of it and everything. But if we're not, something happens to it, that it's at fault of the organizer, that's where it would be covered.
Okay. So this is putting them on notice that they really need to take care of the equipment, but also that you have some recourse to get.
If they were to lose something, or they took it, they misplaced it, and we can't find it anymore.
Okay, so this is basically a promise or just a notice that they will do this. It's not based on past behavior at all. It's just It's an agreement
Yeah.
that these things will happen. And I had a question about the next page. In exercising discretion, the general manager or designate may consider factors including compliance with drought restrictions, conservation measures, or emergency regulations. And I wasn't sure how this was quantified. Is it a promise that they're gonna do that, or is this based on past behavior? Would this be something that was considered if someone had problems with this in the past, and it would be a factor that you would consider to agree to or not agree to providing this service?
Yeah, it'd be based on,
Past behavior?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then we would just use, the general manager's discretion if we're, in a drought, it's not making sense to donate water, that kind of stuff.
Okay, makes perfect sense to me. Let's see. I think that might have been it. Oh no, one other. Since conservation was mentioned above, is there a need for applicants to ensure that they will comply with water conservation expectations? Well, I guess I'm answering my own question. The answer is yes. Because you qualified, and answered my question before, then it all makes sense now. Okay.
Okay.
I think that was it. Yeah. Yeah. Minor
right.
stuff.
Dolson?
Thanks. Yeah, I agree. This seems like a welcome policy. I only have a few questions. And some of them are just out of ignorance. So for example, we're in section 5, where you're talking about the monetary limits and approval. $5,000 surprised me just as being potentially high. I didn't know what the relevant considerations were that led to that figure.
Yeah, it's significantly higher than what we've donated in the past. Just for example, for the mountain fair, and these are in-kind donations, we're including staff time and equipment. Was somewhere between, it's $1,500 to $3,000, probably closer to the $1,500 amount. Recently we did the Ben Lomond Village Market. I was like $200 to $500. I think when I brought it to the board, it said $300 and something dollars. So in that range, that's kind of more realistically. Why we have it so high, I think just discretion of the GM, and if there was a larger event that we did want to participate that would, take more effort, we don't want to handicap ourselves. No, we can't do it because the policy says.
Understand. Is this a line item in the annual budget?
It's not. No.
So ultimately it just comes out of where?
Operations. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly where. That would be something to consider in future budgets, to include a small amount for these events.
Did you hear the response?
It's an operation.
It's an operation.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. I leave that to your discretion. The other thing that I wondered about, there's maybe two places where this comes up. So in the promoting improved community understanding of SLVWD, I can see two different aspects of that potentially. I mean, one is just generating goodwill by being present and contributing, and another is actually raising community awareness and understanding of the district, just taking advantage of that contact with the community to get a message out. Do you consider both of those, or?
Yeah, we're starting to ramp up just outreach with all the stuff we're doing. A lot of it we want to highlight all the capital improvement projects, really, and just some environmental stuff we're doing. So for the last event, we created a little brochure that kind of highlighted a few of those things. We also have some water conservation stuff we like to talk about.
Mhm.
Can you help here? What else?
Like social media posting, and just trying to highlight updates to customers of all the projects we have going on, and using the events as another place to highlight that too.
But yeah,
Along that line, it triggers something else for me. Is that an opportunity, if you're presenting other information about the district, to say, and a way to get involved if you're interested, are the public committees.
That's a good point.
Because we often, come November, are, well, we've only got 6 requests so far. And well, can we get the word out? Can we get,
Yeah,
are these an opportunity to?
I think they are. We haven't done that yet, but I think that's a great idea to include that in,
Somehow
say,
putting that together as part of the message, I think.
yeah, maybe the brochure, even its own separate little, like, hey, if you're interested in list the committees,
How to get more involved.
the deadline.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
It's a good opportunity to talk about Ion Water too, so, because some people don't know
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Ion Water
Yes,
too.
somebody who didn't know until a month ago.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. You know, I think historically we've kind of just set up our booth and put our banner up there, and it has been some good outreach. It's good, but it's an opportunity to,
There's the opportunity to get a bit more out of it
yeah, I think we can. beef
on
it
a
up.
low level effort from the district. Then yes,
Mhm.
we should be.
That's great. Taking that one step further. So in the recent event, did very many people pick up handouts or?
Yeah, the brochures, the last one was the market in Ben Lomond, and it was only for 4 hours. I will say, when I stopped by there, I was there for about an hour. It was pretty busy, busier than I thought, to be honest with you. Yeah, a lot of the brochures were taken. You know, that's about, for outreach, that was about it. We did supply some, low pressure nozzles that we hand out in our office, so that kind of, you know, freebie, those were taken, of course. We supply this dye that you put in your toilet to see if your toilet's leaking, you know, to help prevent leaks. So we have some of those packets. A few of those were taken. But, you know, overall, it's something we should continue improving and beefing up, get better over time.
And then my final question is just in the actual form that people fill out where it asks them to describe how the event benefits the public and aligns with community or educational goals. I was trying to picture how they may answer that. I guess that's just a question about their organization and its mission.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the Mountain Fair, for example, they generate revenue that goes to local nonprofit organizations. The Bites and Brew generated revenue for the elementary school. The Ben Lomond Village Alliance, it generated revenue for the, you know, for the Alliance itself, which is a nonprofit organization which promotes events and upgrades to the community.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Director Swan?
Yes, for the memo that eventually goes to the board on this, since we had talked about it before, was that these requests, when they come in, don't need to come in front of the board anymore. General manager has the discretion. I would recommend in the memo, when it goes to the board, here's the policy, just to review the policy, but the request again is approved on whatever the date. These
Yeah.
don't need to come.
Per policy.
Yeah, that the board, you know, found that they don't need to come.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Do you think it's a good idea if we put it on the consent agenda? That way we can bring to light that we're doing this in the.
That was one of my comments, actually. I was wondering instead of the end
Yes.
of year.
If there's any way to expedite those board meetings by just putting this whole thing on the consent agenda. Yes.
Because I mean, per policy, we wouldn't have to take anything to the board, but it might be a good idea just sort of to bring to light that we're.
Here's the policy.
Yeah.
If anybody has a question on it, they can bring it up during that consent period, but we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, the policy. I was also had a note, just like when we do approve these things, maybe like being able, like a summary, like every 3 months or something going into the consent so the board can see where it was going instead of waiting the whole year. But I don't know how other people feel about
Yeah.
that.
I'll give an update on their events every quarter instead of.
Yeah, instead of like the end of the year, you'd be like, oh, this is what the quarter we donate this much and just.
If
in
it's
consent.
money coming out of operations budget. it's
Put an
just-
operations report. No problem.
Exactly, just a brief
Yeah.
comment in the operations report then on a quarterly basis as to donation.
Mhm.
It'll be pretty short, but yeah.
That's okay, that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The other question that I have is one that was triggered from Cheryl's comment about the bullet on nonprofit organizations. under eligibility, 3. It doesn't qualify anything about the nonprofit organizations. We've kind of talked around the nonprofits that we would like, but there are nonprofits out there that if presented to staff, I'm pretty sure you would say, no, we don't want to donate to a distasteful nonprofit that's a 501c3. And maybe in that bullet, linking it together with community-based organizations or somehow that expresses what we want to see in a nonprofit that would submit.
Yeah, maybe add it into the last bullet, clear public benefit with the
There you
districts
go.
and the
Mhm.
district service area.
Something like that. Yes, with a clear public benefit. And I don't believe that any of the organizations that you've donated to are of that unfavorable. But since we're having the opportunity to put together the narrative on it, just to expand that one a little
Yeah,
bit.
and I agree, we should do that, and also, my understanding is, at the end of the day, it's the general manager's discretion, so if, it'd be nice to have it in the policy, let's take care of it now, but if it wasn't, we could always say,
It then puts it on the general manager
Make that
as,
To do research on the,
or to take the more somewhat unfavorable.
Yeah.
No, sorry, we can't. Or I don't want to is more what it's like. I don't want to because I don't like your organization. That's basically what it comes down to, right? Well, your policy doesn't say that you shouldn't be. Well, yeah. It would be politically unpopular for me to grant a donation to your organization, so I don't want to.
we'll just make it, we'll add to that
Right.
bullet point,
Right.
clear
Okay,
benefit to the district and community.
that's it.
All right. I think we can go to Shelley online.
Hello. So, mine, I like the policy. I like how it's worded, but I did have some questions, especially now generated by the members of the committee under bullet points 4 and 5. The increment of the $5,000, is that based on historical? Because I think you were saying like 200, 300, this was this, the 500, but then under what it would cover is staff support. So I'm getting to my point. Staff support for the delivery. Would staff support to make sure, a staff, two staff, that things were being utilized correctly, but also if you talk about getting the message out, would that be an opportune time to set up a little booth, which I like the marketplace that's starting to ramp up for summer, to share what the district is doing. And that way staff would be available if something came up. So I'm just wondering, historically, do you have the cost of what these in kind are like? Because you ramped up to 5,000. And getting the word out. I like some of the things you gave away, by the way. I thought that was great. I think we need to be more face forward with how we get the word out and present. Phew, I'll take a breather now.
Yeah, I mean, as far as getting the word out, I think, social media blasts and all that stuff would be a good route for there. Historically, the cost we have, like I mentioned, we have an idea of what it's cost in the past. The 5,000, that cost that I mentioned did include all the staff time. So did that answer your question?
Would
I
it
don't-
include their time to stay and be
Yes.
visible and
Yes.
troubleshoot, and also visible from event planning, that they're there with a booth, but then they also can help with whatever comes up?
No, yeah, you actually bring up a pretty good point, because the Mountain Fair event that we have done every year for the last 15 years or whatnot. We do need staff there because the equipment we have, there's something comes up, we're gonna need to jump on it or it won't work. So historically, we've always had someone there. These other events I mentioned, we were able to use our water station, which allows us just to basically hook it up to existing connection, set up our booth, and then it's optional whether we need to be there or not. We don't have to be there because there's nothing really that can go wrong, except maybe the line breaking, but that's something we have to discuss internally and with staff. If do we want to have someone there the whole event, you know, and does that mean we need to pay them overtime? Or right now it's just volunteer based for these except for the Mountain Fair, that one we did pay overtime, so we need someone. The rest are volunteer based. So I guess it would just be case by case whether we should have someone there the whole event or not.
Yes.
Or maybe part of the event, not the whole event, you know, 2 hours, 2 hour minimum, you know, it's like
I don't think the committee nor the board need to get involved to that level of that staff, your availability,
yeah, it'd be case by case.
right.
Yeah, the 5,000 is also to kind of future-proof the policy as well, because things seem to be going up in price, I don't know.
I mean, I would say right now we'll probably stay under 5,000 for all the events every year. I know there's the 25,000 per year. We're not gonna get close to that in the near future unless there's some major event we can do. I don't know. I can't even think of something, but yeah, it's more to future proof, as Jason said.
Did you have any more, Shelley?
Nope, that was it.
All right. Oh, I said one of mine. The other one was just as Cheryl was talking, she was talking about the damages and stuff like that. And I realized that's not really on the signature page. So maybe like right where they're signing that they're responsible for equipment. And I know it's in the policy, but not where they're signing. So something to kind of think about there. Oh, I don't know. Yeah. I know there was like a check mark, like I will follow all the district rules, but it's like, okay, I guess you
Yeah.
have to like read up or whatever. And usually that's all on one thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want these people thinking they're gonna be on the hook if anything happens to be worried about it. It's just more for you know, because things do happen that might not be their fault, but if they're just negligent, excuse me, or just can't, they lose something Mars, and we want to make
Yeah.
sure you're all responsible for that.
That's all I have. Is anyone else on panel?
No.
No. All right, go to public comment. We have no one in the room and no one online. And I believe we have a motion on this.
I can make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make the motion that the admin committee recommends adoption of the proposed in-kind water service policy to the board of directors with amended with comments from this committee and placed on the consent agenda at a future board meeting.
Thanks for making my motion.
Yeah.
Do a second.
Second.
There we go.
Alina Lane,
Yes.
Mart Smalley,
Yes.
Mart Olson,
Yes.
Cheryl Adams.
Yes.
And Shelley Canton.
Yes,
Motion has passed. Thank you.
All right, we can move on to the consolidation policy. Is Jason or Jen taking
That'd be me, unfortunately.
that?
This policy was written to create a structured defensible framework for voluntary and state mandated consolidation requests while protecting the existing ratepayers. The topics covered in this policy request initiation screening, RFI requirements, pre-consolidation agreement, cost reimbursement, technical financial evaluation criteria, LAFCO, state mandated consolidation, health and safety code, consolidation agreement terms, what it takes for board approval, and decision and termination criteria. The district does not solicit consolidations, we'll evaluate them. Approval requires technical feasibility and financial neutrality, benefit to existing ratepayers. It follows all the legal California code. It's just something that Director Smalley and Director Fulton and I kind of worked on when I first started, and the district was facing numerous consolidation requests, and still is in the process of receiving some. So this is something that kind of gives us a structure of what to do when we get them.
All right, I'll just go on the reverse order. Let's start with Shelley Canton.
I am needing education on what exactly this means. Somebody has well water and you're going to absorb it or bring it into the system. How
So
does
this is more for small systems. I don't want to mention anybody by name, but I'm in like Brackenbray or Forest Springs.
Yeah.
So they have these small systems, and maybe they're failing, or maybe they're tired of running them anymore, and so they reach out to the district and say, "We need you to take us over," or the state comes in and says, "We need you to take them over."
So, sorry. So someone has a type of water system based on access to a stream, river, well, something of that nature?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, whatever their water source may be,
Yeah.
they have a water system.
Yeah, there was another smaller one in Felton that had reached out too. We had no way to deal with it. And I think they were all well.
Were they? Okay.
Yes.
And so
Oh, they screamed. Oh, okay, yeah.
is it multi-agencies that get involved that say, okay, this is now a public health or could
It
be
could-
Could
huh?
be.
It could be. It could be the state water resource control board. It could be LAFCO that's involved. It could be the PUC, depending if it's a private. So yeah, there could be multiple agencies that are involved.
So the first responder, so to speak, is that entity would reach out to the water district. Is that how it gets initiated?
Correct.
Okay, then it then falls to the water district to begin its process of evaluating the system, the water quality, and everything else that then becomes part of the water district. Yes?
Yeah, we start by looking at their application and what they're proposing, and then that it could very well lead into that. Yeah, we do a system-wide evaluation of what they have out there, what they need for upgrades. You know,
So there could be a cost factor.
Yes.
yes,
And do you pay them for said water source?
No.
no,
Okay,
no.
it's just
On a consolidation, you absorb what they have.
okay, so you don't pay them. They aren't expecting to have a
No.
buyout
Yeah.
of their okay. You're
Yeah,
taking it over, you're absorbing the costs, you are being the water district from that point forward once it's been assessed.
Correct.
Okay, now I understand. I just needed clarification on this. So let me reread it because I was lost. I didn't understand. So that's my input so far.
All right, Director Solly.
So based on some of your questions, Shelley, I'll take a step further back than what Jason has expressed. The San Lorenzo Valley Water District over the years has assembled smaller water services into our general area. In the most recent past, the town of Felton came to the water district, and we ended up absorbing Felton's water system that was owned by a private company. The citizens of Felton wanted to get out from under that. They came to the water district and will you consolidate us into your system? Similarly, Lompico came to the water district, I believe it was in about 2017 or so, to say, will you acquire us? and absorb us, consolidated us into your water system. We've taken over both of those two systems, and they are now part of the larger San Lorenzo Valley Water District. In the more recent past, Jason did mention Bracken Brae and Forest Springs. They're after the CZU fires, those two water systems had significant damage to their systems. They've tried over the years to put interim patches and things in place, and they're just pretty much we're being overwhelmed by it. They came to us, they asked us to take them, to consolidate them. The district went through a significant process with them. We have improved the delivery of water to them, but we have not fully attempted to consolidate or absorb all of their system into our district. It's a money issue at this point. They don't have the money to upgrade their systems enough. This policy requires the systems to meet district standards. Their systems currently do not. So we're at kind of I don't know, an impasse, or don't go any further until some type of funding is acquired. The district has had requests from other agencies also. In the recent past, Big Basin's water system in 2022. And the district spent a considerable amount of time over about a 10-month period meeting with Big Basin and state and county agencies to then come to a point of we can't do this right now. There's no funding sources being identified, and it's not district funds. It's not district funds. And this policy, I believe, makes that clear, because a lot of these agencies, small mutuals, come to us and, can you save us? Can you save us? We've been spending, and I've heard this quote from one of, we've been spending on the order of $30,000 a month recently to do repairs to our system. And when can you take that over so that we don't have to keep spending that money? We're not, is the simple answer to that. So this policy, which we haven't had yet through all of these, lays that out. So instead of a sort of a head scratch from the general manager saying, yeah, I think this is a good idea. Yeah, let's go help these people out. It now begins to formalize that. So with that as sort of background of what I've lived over the last 5 years with these, I have some questions on it. In section 7, the statement of the system must meet district standards. What are they?
Fire flow standards, 8-inch minimum,
Right.
Main lines, fire hydrants.
Right.
So
Okay.
meters.
Okay. I think that there should be a summary of kind of district standards attached to this policy, so that, because any mutual water agency that's asking that's going to be one of the first questions that they're going to need to see.
I'll put a summary and I'll put a link to our actual standard.
To the actual standard, yes, as to here's what the district requires as to that. And then from my perspective of looking at these agencies, none of these agencies meet that. A large part of the water district system doesn't meet the fire flow requirement. No, I don't think that's any secret. No, it's not. So, is there any, and do we want to offer any flexibility from those?
The flexibility, though, is that the board always has the authority to grant a variance to any policy. So
right.
if we adopt this, any board, right, this one or a future board, could say, you know what?
Right.
Yeah, we're going to go.
Right. Because I've seen recently in the last year 2 cases of, oh, well, that's innovative. It's nowhere near close to our standards, but it's working on somewhat of a basis. One of these small water mutuals has all of their service lines in plastic pipe laid out on top of the ground. What? And in speaking to them, they said, yeah, it's easy for us when we have leaks to find the leaks and repair the leaks. And that's all and they've been living with this for 25 years this way. And it's worked for them. And that is nowhere close to whatever the service, not the 8-inch, but whatever 2-inch line going out to individual homes, but it's working. So that's one example. The other example is at one of these two small water agencies that are up to, they've been struggling with how to get some type of fire service in. They got a grant from one of the local nonprofits. They put in a fire water system. It's all on top of the ground. They put in ductile iron pipe out to 5 fire hydrants, and it's hooked up to an existing water tank that they have. And the fire marshal finds that it gave them a letter saying, on an interim fire water system, this is acceptable. And it was enough that they can then take that to the county and get their building permits. So I saw those as two very creative solutions to the millions of dollars required to, but I'm not saying change the policy. These are the kind of things that I think the board and general manager should be wrestling with over the next number of years when we get these requests coming in. So, okay.
I doubt any request that we get will meet these criteria, so it's gonna be at the board's discretion to.
Right.
Whether say yay or nay.
Right. And what I envision is, and I don't know if this is procedurally acceptable within state systems, but a separate assessment district set up with funds from those homeowners above and beyond what their standard bill is, same as we set up assessment districts within our tax base for so many different things, but an assessment district set up for, here's the funds to upgrade your system to minimum acceptable standards. And they pay for it rather than the general ratepayers' money. But that's only a thought at my point as to how these might be done. So that covers that. I think that the consolidation policy at some point does it clearly say no money from existing ratepayers? It says, well, no, it does say from existing ratepayers somewhere.
It does somewhere.
But who are the existing ratepayers? Is it them? Or is it the district?
Okay.
I think if you replace existing with current district ratepayers, something like that to make it clear as to who that entity is that's coming from. On section 6, there's a statement about 100% reimbursement of costs. But we spend some amount of time in district staff in all of the initial evaluations of getting to that point. Most recently, since it's on the board agenda for this week, I'll ask you the question. The time that you've spent so far in drafting that letter of intent that we see in there, have you tracked all of your time to then be able to go back and backbill that in any other staff time?
Right.
I think there should be, I don't know if it needs to be quantified, but some unwritten
like hard costs or something like that.
Yeah, some expectation or agreement from the board that's, up to this the general manager has the discretion to do initial evaluations and outreach to even begin to, put together things that get to a point of, all right, now we're going to start billing to that reserve account that you've established for this. Because I don't, I think having some kind of a limit in there, because otherwise it's, when does that clock start for what the board is expecting to be reimbursed on?
Okay.
So, section 10, the mandated consolidations. I recognize that this is part of state regulations. But does this policy need to say that? No. Then do we, if we don't need to say that, recognize that, should it be there? Because
You don't want to invite it?
exactly, I don't want to invite that. I've always walked around that. In all of the negotiations that we were doing 4 years ago for the Big Basin water system, in all of the meetings that I had between our general manager and the attorney was saying, hey, there's this possibility. Okay, I hear it, but I don't want to. I didn't want that broadcast out there, because there were a lot of individuals on the state side who had no idea what they were doing, because they'd never been through this before, to even set up the receivership for Big Basin, to let alone see that, oh, we could mandate them to do this. Well, why don't we go down that path then? That's the comments I have.
All right, Mark?
Yikes. I feel like Mark can comment much more knowledgeably about this than I can. The only thing that would help me, I mean, I think it's a great direction to go in. Do you feel that there are things you put in here that would have made a difference in how you dealt with recent consolidation requests?
I can let Mark answer that because he dealt with them. I didn't have to.
It would have made all of the initial discussions with Forest Springs and Bracken Bray easier, because we would have had something that, here's the policy, and that realization on their part that took 6 months to a year of, sorry, we're not here to save you. We're not the bank to be able to do all of this. The policy clearly states that now. And yes, I would have liked to have had that
Right.
at the initial outset. And there is another water mutual that reached out to us a year ago that at that time I was working with Director Foltz to develop this policy, but we didn't have it ready yet. And the president of the other small mutual said, well, if you get this to a point of having a draft available, I'd be willing to take a look at it for you and give you comments from somebody who's receiving this. Oh, okay, yeah, that would be, but I think this has developed far enough now that we don't need small mutuals input into it. I like where it is now. Yes, it would help. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
I will leave it there.
Okay.
All right, Adams?
I think this is long overdue, and I think, I mean, I see the great usefulness of this kind of a policy. Not just from a district perspective where we know what we need to do to process these applications, but from the point of view of the applicant as well, the person who's making the request, that there are expectations of them. And this becomes a political issue for us simply because our ratepayers don't want to bail out other people too. So, right. So it sets up expectations of the requestee that they have some things they need to meet in order for us to consider this. So I'm just saying, I think it's a great start to a policy, and I think it's been long overdue that we needed this.
And to your comment about our ratepayers expecting, us, I don't think that awareness is there on a lot of our ratepayers.
True, but there's some that there is that.
Oh, there's some,
Yeah.
but being in the meetings when we were talking about, in particular, Four Springs and Bracken Bray, the sentiment from existing ratepayers, well, we have to help them out. Well, we have to, they're our neighbors, we have to help. Well, are you willing to write some amount of a check to help? That awareness wasn't there
Right.
as to where that money comes from.
This could possibly be a rate increase for you to help these guys out, Yeah.
Yes.
Then it's a different story.
Then it's a different story. It's exactly right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, setting up expectations for the people who are requesting the help, I think is going to go a long way to kind of resetting expectations out there in the community. Anyway, so good on you for doing this. I think it's great. One thought I had was when I read the title, San Lorenzo Valley Water District System Consolidation Policy and Procedures. Is this really that, or is this a policy to review requests? So I'm just wondering if this is descriptive or not, and if it is descriptive, it's mostly descriptive of the process to review these
Well,
applications.
for removing section 10, then it would just be the system consolidation application policy.
That's my question. Yeah.
Just a minute.
Consolidate.
Yeah, consolidation's got to be in the title because that's what
Agreed.
everybody from the
Agreed.
state and other mutuals recognizes
Mhm.
as the process. It's
Mhm.
consolidation.
The process of doing consolidations or the process of
Of evaluating.
reviewing and evaluating requests for consolidation.
Yeah.
That's the
Right,
that's the language I'm looking for is
right.
what I see is this being a really good policy for the review of requests for consolidation.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the process of doing the consolidation. So what is it that we want here? Is this that we want this to be a giant policy about review and implementation? Or is it just
I
review
don't
of
like giant policies.
I agree. I don't like the giant policy.
me neither.
This is at a digestible level
It is.
for another mutual to look at.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So maybe we need to
Title.
Yeah.
wordsmith that a little bit. Okay. Again, this is just, I was so happy to see this. And then there's initiation of the request, and then this is under number 4, and then the district will perform a preliminary screening. And I know you guys have been doing this for a long time, and this is just my question to you is who does this? And the other point of it was if we're looking to assess costs of the review of these things, I wanted to make sure that we were clear if we are doing this, that included the cost of staff time to do this, because it becomes a big time eater sometimes.
That goes back to Mark's point earlier about
Yeah.
when does the cab you hit the stick to make the meter start turning on?
Exactly.
So yeah.
So do we have staff that besides you,
Oh yeah.
that it's part of their duty statement to evaluate these things?
Well, no, there's nobody who has it in their job description that says evaluate consolidation requests.
Right.
But
I'm only looking at Garrett and Jesse, so.
okay, all right.
As needed.
As
Yeah.
the other
Job
duties,
description.
other duties as assigned.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. I wouldn't want it to be, again, just from a perspective of, we don't want to be inviting people to ask us to consolidate with them. So to make it clear that we have staff that can do that. No, it's a double-edged sword there.
Well, in order for the board to make an educated, choice, we have to be able to bring something and say like, oh, they're, 3 miles away and this is what it would take. So
Yeah.
it's gonna take a little bit.
So, yeah, so again, what's the trigger for that clock to start? And I would think that a preliminary assessment would be kind of minimal, but also take some staff time. So maybe we eat that cost. Something else. Periodically, periodically, that's just the
I
thing.
hate that word, don't you?
I hate that word. Okay,
Then every other year. Years that end in even numbers.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
since this is a new policy, it might be good to review it
Yeah.
after the first year to see if it's working, I guess. But I mean, I don't want to bog everybody down in needless policy review, but not to let them go so long that they're way past due.
Well, if we do it every other year, I think that's
You think
good.
that's good?
And we'll know if it's working if we get our first consolidation request and it, falls apart.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. And the fact that I've been working on this couple months prior to Jason arriving.
Okay.
So I've been involved in trying to get this to the level that it is for about a year.
Well, thank you for doing that. Yeah,
And it's now.
I love it.
This looks good.
I agree. Yeah, you can see, I just had some clarifying questions. I didn't really have any problem with the policy. I'm done.
Okay. I was just wondering that maybe like since the request must be submitted to both the GM and board president, I'm not really sure why the president singled out, maybe just submitted to the
And
district.
The representative of the board, so that's why.
Oh, I don't know. I was just thinking like it's submitted to the district. I don't know. It just might create a governance wrinkle that might not be necessary. So,
I like that defined second set of eyes on it.
okay.
Rather than submitted to the district, because the district could just be the general manager.
Yeah.
Going through the big basin evaluation and the Four Springs and Brackenbury. I'd been on the board for, I don't know, 10 months at that point when we got the first one. The board president asked me to be the board representative. Okay, fine. So I was the one that was in meetings with the general manager, with all of these other agencies, just to have a board representative involved in that.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be going forward. It's up to
Yeah.
the board. And the rest of the board agreed, yeah, that makes sense at that
Okay.
point. So,
And so also the policy, it kind of focuses heavily on cost recovery. And especially when we're talking about the like net neutral, it doesn't explicitly consider maybe the water supply benefits, the watershed management benefits, kind of long-term regional planning or fire resilience improvements. Just trying to, think about that. There might be more than just that pure monetary value that we're getting. And then I guess we're getting rid of the state mandated consolidations because I was like asking for clarification on that. But if you're removing that, then I guess
well, that was my recommendation.
What was your clarification?
well, I mean, just what does that entail more instead of
Usually the state coming in saying you're gonna consolidate with
Right.
this organization, and they do provide funding for it, but it may not be to bring it up to your standards.
Yes. I dreaded the thought of that happening to us here. And the state representatives that we were meeting with between Rick and I, none of them ever mentioned that. It was only our attorney that was bringing that up to me, saying, okay, yes, I'm aware of it, but I'm not mentioning that or asking about that.
Mm,
So that was my thought on. Well, don't advertise if that's available.
okay, I'm fine with that. I think that's really all I had. I mean, in general, all these policies have been pretty good, and I don't have a whole lot, but I do see a hand up with Shelley here.
Okay. One idea came to my head when you were talking about staff time and how to charge. A few months ago, contacted county to get a riparian pre-certification. They come out and do a walkabout with you, and they will charge you $200 per hour. So that's a minimum of 2 hours. And that came to, of course, 400 plus tax. So I don't know if you want to work in where a site assessment for staff to go out and spend their time, it will be a minimum of whatever price you want to set it at. But it did for me, because I'm right on the San Lorenzo River, for riparian recertification, that's what it came to.
The board could always consider some sort of application fee that covers, staff time.
Yeah, I would think it's an opportunity. And also, this is a new policy. Is there a need to, what can I say? Get the information out that there is a policy? Is that a need?
Personally, I don't think so,
Okay.
because these other mutuals that are anywhere close to us, even without us having a policy, have been asking us over the years, please, will you do this? Is there the possibility that you would consolidate us into we have a system, in one case, we have a system that's functioning okay. It has treatment, has the rest of that, but we're tired of dealing with the state regulations. The state regulations are just becoming overwhelming for us to. So we haven't needed to advertise anything. They came to us and said, oh, would you consider?
Yeah. Great.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Do you have any further comments from the board?
I do have one
Okay.
that was triggered. And it's not related to this meeting, but I've already alluded to what's on the agenda for the board meeting on this week. I'm going to recommend that one. I think this policy should be included with that letter of intent, but I don't see the opportunity to do that for this Thursday, but just wanted to make the rest of the committee aware that that's where I'm thinking about this one. So. Okay.
All right. Can do public comment. We have no one in the room and still no one online. And we do have a motion on this one as well.
You want me to do that?
Sure.
I move that the administration committee recommend that the board recommend to the board of directors that I move that the administration committee recommends that the system consolidation policy and procedures be presented to the board of directors for review and adoption with comments as made by the administration committee. Does that?
Second.
Okay.
Alina Lane,
Yes.
Mart Smalley,
Yes.
Mark Dolphin,
Yes,
Cheryl Adams.
Yeah.
And Shelley Canton.
Yes.
Motion has passed. Thank you.
All right, we can move on to our next agenda item, which is contract award and vendor selection policy, which is Jason again.
So this was being brought forward because when I first came on board, it seemed a little bit Wild West. on how vendors were selected.
Mhm.
So this policy is to kind of make this more uniform across different departments within the district and how we evaluate the contracts that we're looking at and the vendors that we're choosing. So I'll leave it there and open it up for discussion.
All right, Director Small, you haven't started yet. You can start on this one.
Okay. The memo has the wrong title.
I'm sorry, that's a copy and paste error.
Right.
Oh.
That's what I thought. On page 27, paragraphs 4.3 and 4.4. It looks like the two of these could add 30 days, 45 days to the bidding process. From a procedural standpoint, just to be able to go through all of the checks for that, for notifying bidder of non-responsive, the bid protest, and all of the time. I'm aware that my tenure on board that we've had at least one, if not two, non-responsives. Yeah, we've had at least a couple of non-responsives. Are we prepared for that additional? Because at times I see, particularly on construction projects, we got to hurry on this right now. We got to go on this right now, and you got to tell us right now that. So if we incorporate this, we need staff to be buying into that.
Hoping that will be more streamlined and better prepared in the future when we're presenting the construction contracts.
Okay, all right, good. Because I'm guessing that these are legal or procedural requirements that we have to go through for this. Yes, okay, and that's what I thought. Okay, all right. On page 28, under the QBS scoring criteria, I go through these and I do the math, and when I work out the math,
It's not 100%.
well, that's
It's 100%.
it's 100%, but to do that math down below is really not necessary. If you change the word weight to maximum score and take away the percentages, you can take away all of that math down below. You can score them anywhere between, as an example, anywhere between 0 and 30 to give a vendor that, and then you don't do any math.
I like to make things complicated.
It simplifies it, I think. Add up those numbers and you get the score.
Yes, engineering mind there.
What's that?
That's your engineering mind there.
Could be. Let's see. And if we want costs to not be a factor in this part of the evaluation process, what I've done in the past is costs shall be submitted in a separate envelope. I don't know if we want to go to that level, but if you're not, I think staff are just almost can't help. Well, what is the
Well,
cost?
we did a trial run
Yeah.
on railroad, and planning a
Right.
pipeline for railroad, and to do the survey, we use this as on a trial basis to see how it would work, and costs were not submitted. It was just submit your qualifications.
Okay.
And so then after the qualifications were scored and the company was selected, Garrett and at the time Joel had their price in mind of what it should be. And they opened up discussions and negotiations with the top scoring firm to see if they were in line with what they thought the cost should be.
Right. Okay. Okay. So for this level of evaluation, we're not even asking for costs.
Right.
Give us your qualification. Okay, I'm okay with that then. Then costs don't need to be provided. Similar to the way we just did the special inspection contracts. We said, here's a scenario, price this scenario for us, and that let us do a comparative cost evaluation on, yeah, okay. Okay. And we go through the categories of which of each of these type of services would be under the various categories.
Mhm.
And I had to ask the question, this has just come up recently. So what category would those special inspections? Because it was, somebody labeled it as an engineering contract. It really isn't engineering. It's,
Yeah.
it's special inspection.
It's GBS.
Okay.
The surveying, engineering,
Right.
special inspection, stuff like that are all GBS.
Okay. Okay. So it would be this process then that costs come later. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, do you think we would have come to a different conclusion?
I think it would have been handled differently because it would have been done on a project by project basis
Mhm.
where rather than trying to get a 3-year
Right.
contract under, on somebody.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. On page 29, you talk about having qualified evaluators. How many qualified evaluators do we have?
Well, probably zero, but I mean, if we're talking about construction project, I want, my engineering team to be the ones evaluating.
Yes, right,
Okay.
right,
So, talking about, evaluating some sort of consultant. I want the people working, maybe it's an environmental consultant.
right,
I want environmental to be the ones evaluating.
right. And I can see whoever the staff is that's putting together the solicitation. Well, yeah, that, of course, that individual is qualified.
Yeah.
But then do we have two more that are qualified? Because you're saying a minimum of 3.
Honestly, maybe minimum of 2. 'Cause I
Two?
feel like we
Well,
only have
that-
2 in each department.
Well, let me ask, do we need to say something about qualified even in here?
No.
And then it kind of gives you the flexibility to, because I'll use an example. Is our management analyst qualified to evaluate engineering? But I don't know, but I'd certainly welcome her input into a lot of these, just as kind of a non-engineering related individual
Yeah,
offering comments on something like this. So that's my thought of.
Okay.
would that more work for you?
What's that?
Oh, I do like the 3. No, I was saying you got more work for her. No, but I did like the 2 from the departments and then like Jen.
Yeah, that's fine. I like
Yeah,
Okay.
pick out qualified. It's up to you to select then.
3.
Yeah, the 3. Yeah,
It's always better to have somebody who's not the subject matter expert review it
exactly.
Mhm.
That's what yes, to say, hey, the
Get outside the.
typically the engineers I find are very focused on the engineering aspects, but then everything else outside of that's what we're supposed to look at that too, right? So, okay. Yeah. Oh, and on page 30, it's just a nomenclature thing about under section 8. Using it makes the statement shall use the following uniform 5-point rating scale. I think it's 5 categories. Okay, that's just nomenclature. Points versus category. And if you've mentioned a conflict of interest statement on page 31 that needs to be recognized somewhere in here. Oh, yes. Yeah, a conflict of interest statement that needs to be signed by them. If that's part of this policy, include that as an attachment somewhere. Yeah. That's all my comments.
Adams?
Okay. Marco already addressed the title of the memo needs to be changed. I just had a question on contract authority and bidding thresholds. That's number 3. Existing procurement policy is more restrictive than the CUPCA statutory ceiling. And just because I'm not understanding why it's more restrictive, maybe somebody could quickly explain
Sorry.
that to me.
I didn't hear what the question was.
And number 3, contract authority and bidding procedures. The district policy is more restrictive than the CUPCA statutory ceiling. Is there a reason for that?
You're asking why my authority is less than the statutory? That's what the district policy is.
The district manager is set at 30,000. Oh, which is more restrictive than I see.
Okay.
Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I just read it wrong. Okay. So yeah, that makes sense. Bid protest, any bidder may protest the responsiveness or responsibility of another bidder. So if these are competitive bids, is this somewhere in statute that this is a requirement that people can call out each other
Yeah.
in the bidding process? Okay.
If they feel like something was done illegally, or maybe more information was given to another company that they didn't get.
Okay,
Yeah.
so there was some sort of an unfairness. Is there, and if there isn't one, that's fine, a citation for that?
If you do that,
No, where this is,
oh, the actual
You want
code,
the statute?
yeah, the statute,
yeah, I can get it.
okay. I agree with the, comments of Director Smalley about if we can, making the scoring criteria simpler. I had a question about the evaluators too, and it was clarified that those are internal evaluators, not external
Yes.
evaluators. And I like the flexibility you have to choose the ones you think are the most qualified
Yeah.
to score the proposals. Initially I was like, this is very detailed. And was wondering if this would in any way or apply to the grants, but I think not. This is a contract policy, not a grant policy. Yeah. Under contract administration and documentation, you've got required contract provisions, and under the second to the last bullet there, prevailing wage compliance, and you've got the labor code there, which is great, and that's an understanding that I've always had with contracts with the government, under government contracts. But my question was, do benefits come into effect on that too? Because I know that was an issue with some of our contracts at the state level, that we our contractors had to also have benefits that were
You know
commensurate
what,
with.
I don't know, but let me,
Okay. And under contract files, files are subject to the Public Records Act and shall be retained for the district records retention schedule. Is that somewhere in public record, the retention schedule?
yeah, the board just adopted a public records.
Okay, great. So that was if somebody wanted to know that, they could look up the retention schedule. It's there. Okay. Okay, that's all I've got for that one.
So you had every 3 years. You gotta point it out.
Okay, Jason, kudos. Every 3 years. I didn't mention it because it was like, okay, but yeah, I'll give you that gladly. Thank you.
All right, Mark.
Yeah, I think this is a very welcome document, and I, again, don't feel I have enough relevant expertise to add much value. I have a kind of a more general question because it's just not easy for me to tell from reading it how hardwired your decision making is, based on your quantitative assessments. I mean, I'm trying to understand how much flexibility there is in the final determination of what to do.
So on the QBS and to bring in Director Smalley's and then Cheryl's seconding idea there of bringing in outside entities or outside people into the decision-making process, I think that'll help because people do tend to get, I like this person in their head, or I like this company in their head, and maybe that mars the scoring matrix a little bit. So thank you for the suggestion. Yeah, but other than that, I think that, bringing other people in and having a fresh set of eyes will help with that.
I'm also just thinking of, recent board discussions where there have been creative proposals that were kind of outside the bounds of the original options,
Mhm.
like splitting activities and
Mhm.
is that still something that will be facilitated by this?
100%. And I think this opens up the ability to do that even more.
Okay. And I'm good.
Shelley.
I thought it was a very well-structured policy. Again, it felt like this was addressing something that's been long overdue and putting it in a succinct manner of which you can refer to and update. What year are we on? The odd year, even year, 3 years. But it allows for a reference tool. So I really don't. Oh, there go the bats again. Anyway, I have bats in my belfry. So it allows for I actually do have bats that are taking up residence inside the chimney.
And the way you said it, Shelley, I didn't know whether it was figuratively or literally that you were.
I heard the
So-
squeaks.
This belfry and or the chimney belfry.
I won't comment any further.
It's okay.
No.
One may comment because, I'm coming off the heavy duty medications, my weaning process. So my mind is less foggy, but there are literal bats.
Okay.
At first I
Okay.
thought they were birds. They're bats. And anyway, I digress. They just got very active, probably because I'm speaking right next to them. But I like the policy, though. Let's get back to the policy. See, I lost it. See, the bats in this belfry.
Oh,
There it went. Maybe I'll raise my hand later. But yeah, anyway, my overall assessment was that I felt it was a good policy. There must have been a historical background to bring it up with such detail, and giving someone a third eye perspective. Also, I think someone mentioned that as well. So that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited about this policy that will have some consistency because I think that definitely had an issue with that one contract. So I appreciate that a lot. I had something in here, it was answered. I did like the line, it said the district shall not solicit or accept gift gratuities or anything of value from current or prospective vendors in connection with any procurement. So that it's only the connection of that, or like when someone brought cookies, like is that not allowed?
I think it's the value of the cookies that matters.
Yeah, never mind, I guess.
If they were from a very high-end bakery, you
Yeah.
probably
Yeah.
have to turn it down.
We'd have to,
Okay.
we'd have
But
to.
if they're of a level that.
But if they pick them up, from
Right.
Safeway on the way up here, it's fine.
Generally, food consumed within a venue like
Is-
that
Yeah.
is,
It's perfectly fine.
for any agency, is
Yes.
perfectly acceptable.
Yes, that was when I worked for the state of Oregon. If you could eat it there, it wasn't considered. But someone couldn't like bring you a salmon fillet to take
Right.
home, but like
Exactly.
if you could
Yes.
eat smoked
Yep.
salmon there or whatever, that's something else. So, okay. No, I really appreciate the time that put in here and the suggestions that came forward from this discussion. I think were very helpful to just kind of streamline that. Do we have any further comments from the board?
When you
Oh.
said somebody from outside, did you mean?
Outside the
staff?
department,
Okay, outside the department, but not outside of.
outside of the
Of the district.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so, yeah, so some uninvolved third
Yes.
individual.
yes.
Yes, okay, thank you. That was it.
All right. Did anything come to you, Shelley, or you good?
No, 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 I was about to say something about baked goods because in healthcare, you're not allowed to have the vendors bring in those like
Right.
lunches and things and they, all of that. So I just was laughing about the baked goods, but no, nothing about the policy came to mind. So I'm good.
Okay, perfect. We can move to public comment. We have no one in the room and no one online. And we also have a motion on this one. Okay.
I'll move that the admin committee recommend that the board of directors direct staff to adopt the following policies: the remote work and flexible schedule policy.
Nope, you're on the
You're
wrong
down
one.
one too far.
It's the contract award and vendor selection policy.
Oh, okay, sorry, I jumped ahead too far. All right. Cancel what I said. Somebody else have this, want to make a motion?
I move that the administration committee recommend that the board of directors direct staff to adopt the contract award and vendor selection policy with any edits that they receive from the admin committee.
Second.
Alina Lane,
Yes.
Mart Smalley,
Yes.
Mart Olson,
Yes.
Cheryl Adams.
Yes.
And Shelley Canton.
Yes.
Motion has passed. Thank you.
All right, now we can move on to the unfinished business and we have personnel policies and this is Jen.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go through my whole spiel again, but
We've
the
seen this
last
one
time,
before.
the last time we came, which was April 20th, we should have made a motion then, like we did similarly today, that we would make, take this to the board with admin edits, and we never got to that point.
Hmm.
So I did simplify them a little bit and made sure I included a lot of the edits that were brought up in the last admin committee, as you can see from the drafts that are there. So really, we're just here for any final edits or comments, and let's see if we can get a motion.
All right. We'll start with Mark Dolphin.
I think it is fine. I have very nitpicky questions that I don't want to dwell on. So when one of the three policies does not mention an annual review, the other two do. It's just a question of whether that was an oversight or how you want to deal with that.
Oh, the annual review?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
And,
that was an oversight.
And in the cybersecurity, the thing that did catch my attention was the training and monitoring. I was just wondering if it would help to be more specific or not about who provides the training. Does the board need any training? Is there any need for routine, proactive monitoring? Those things are just left open. And again, I leave it to you guys to decide what's best.
Yeah, and I'm leaving it kind of up to HR to pick the training, and then, we do have an internal platform that we use for all the internal type of trainings like that. So I think that would be something we would use, but we haven't really selected the exact training yet, so that's why it's not named in the policy. Not to mention, things could change, and I don't want to have to change the policy every time we decide to change training, so.
Understood.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, Cheryl Adams.
Yeah, again, we've reviewed this before, so it was pretty easy to read, and I only had one nitpicky question, and that was under the first section, which was the remote work and flexible schedule policy. And it's not review of the policy that I'm concerned about, but the performance expectations of the employee performance will be reviewed at least semi-annually. And my question is just, is that usual? Do you usually do a semi-annual review, or do you do an annual review of performance expectations, that sort of thing? So I was just wondering if that was in line with your general policy of doing performance reviews.
That's our standard, I believe. That's our standard probationary period. I mean, typically it's 6 months.
I would think that for someone who's just starting a flexible schedule, that would be perfect. Yeah, definitely do at least a 6 month, and then maybe annually after that. So,
Right.
but my question was, if we're doing it semi-annually for everybody who's on a flexible schedule, I don't know if that's like undue workload for management. Just
Okay. That's something.
yeah,
For sure.
yeah. So I think review is, yes, absolutely important. I was just
Yeah, they may be adding like that language that you said, maybe evaluate semi-annually for, first time
initially.
and then annually thereafter.
That's kind of where I was going. Yeah. Other than that, sounds great. It looks good.
Thank you.
All right, Director Smalley?
I only had one question, and was, why are we looking at this again? I thought we had. But you told us the answer to that
I
question
explained that
already,
now.
so it's been answered already. Thank you.
Mhm.
No further questions on it.
All right, Shelley?
I think it is worded fine. I think wherever you can be generic, I think you were talking about something about the evaluations, wherever you can be as generic as possible without naming, like in healthcare, we don't name the product. We name what a product would be used for, because products change all the time. So sometimes things change, but the process might be the same.
Mhm.
But so I would leave things as open-ended as possible, so you don't have to keep redoing your policy. It already picks it up and it's all ready to go. Did that make sense? Or am I bats in the belfry again?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Right? I think you were saying you were gonna, yeah, it was gonna be kind of open, so that way you didn't have to drill like specific. Just make a qualifying statement, then it's there. And it's then an internal process that it's for your annual review, or it's 6 months, or how you qualify that. But the performance eval would be done. End of statement.
Sounds good.
Done.
All right, I said this before, but I'll say it again. I just still think maybe we should consider sometimes maybe less than a year for the remote work. Just, for recruitment, as always, to see how this goes and think about that, because I know people, they want to work remote, like it really draws people in to apply. So
Yeah.
but we've already discussed that. We don't have to go on to that more. But I also, you had the title here of privacy and security policy, but it feels more like a website privacy notice. So I don't know if that title is quite accurate, but I don't know if it matters that much. But it just seems more like the kind of website specific. Oh, and I think, do we really cover thoroughly like third-party vendor security as far as like cloud vendors, software providers, and managed service providers? Because that's where a lot of our cybersecurity risks come from. So I don't know if we covered that enough in that policy, or something to think about. I think that's really all I had, since we already went through this before. So that's really all I have. Anything else from the board? No. All right. We can go to public comment. We have no one in the room and no one online. Was there also, there was a motion because you started to read it.
I'm gonna read it this-
Yes, please.
I'll recommend that the admin committee recommends to the board to review and discuss the draft policies, provide any oh, I see the motion down below. Move that the admin committee recommend that the board of directors direct staff to adopt the following policies: remote work and flexible schedule policy, privacy and security policy, and cybersecurity policy.
Second.
Alina Lane,
Yes.
Mark Smalley,
Yes.
Mark Dalton,
Yes?
Cheryl Adams.
Yes.
And Shelley Canton.
Yes.
Motion has passed. Thank you.
All right. So this changed a little bit. We don't have the comment. We do have number 7, which is the future agendas / parking lot. So I guess since it's on the agenda, you could comment here for any additional thoughts on upcoming agenda items, if anyone has them.
Oh,
I'll take raised hands. I'm not gonna call on each one. Okay. Okay,
Oh.
Director Smalley.
My thought would be that's on the agenda for next time. That whatever the staff is considering, just let us know that in August or August, September, or without a month, here's 3 other things that we're going to be talking about in the upcoming months, just so that we have an idea of what else is out there. And often when I see something like that, that's being, oh, that's right, we should talk about that. And by the way, there's something else that I'm aware of that I want to add to that list. So.
Mark Olson.
okay, yeah, that's so relevant to what I was considering saying, and I'm just gonna pipe up. So I appreciate that this has been added to our agenda. I've been beating a drum for something akin to this for the board as well. And because I keep encountering instances of people saying that they were going to put things on a future agenda or that they've requested that things be on agenda, but there's no tracking document that I'm aware of that ensures that that will happen, and it seems not to happen. And so I think it would be a good practice to have an open issues document that lists all things that are pending or in process and when they're expected to next be addressed, just to keep things moving forward.
I thought that's what we did here. These
Sorry?
are all pending or future items.
Well, I'm saying this is a step in that direction, which I appreciate.
What else are you looking for exactly?
I was really asking for a spreadsheet that says, when is this coming up next? What's its current status? Just anything that would be helpful for tracking and ensuring that things don't fall through the cracks.
Can I make a suggestion along those lines?
Yeah,
You know what you're thinking of with, I'll bet 4 different things that have been talked about at the board level this year.
Yeah.
That you're not aware of when it's going to come up again.
Yeah.
For the next admin committee meeting, show us an example of what you're recommending to be added to the board meetings,
okay,
and let this committee look at it, because you're saying it's kind of been talked about, but it's not been implemented.
yes,
This is the place for change, I think, changes in the policy level things that this committee thinks should happen. So my recommendation, float your example of what should be in there to staff. Let them put that on the admin committee agenda for the next meeting.
And that's why we had the committee comment section there before, was that was supposed to be that opportunity for you
Yeah.
guys to say, hey, we kind of touched on this, but
Right.
nothing ever, can we look further into this
Right.
topic or whatever it is?
So, yes.
I appreciate your recommendation, Mark.
What I'm saying makes sense to you, Mark.
Yeah, because I was puzzled. I mean,
Right.
I find myself repeatedly saying the same thing and just getting a kind of glazed response, and I didn't
Right.
want to be in that position.
I understand.
Yeah.
So I think this is the
Yeah.
format,
Okay,
a more procedural, formal way to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyone else like to make comment?
You're muted.
I think she said no.
No, it's a good idea. I like the suggestions.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, staff, for all these policies. You guys put in a lot of hard work and they looked really nice. So thank you. And with that, we can adjourn at 12:35. Oh, I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do public comment. No one was here. Oh,
Okay.
okay.
We'll give you I will give you the pass. I will at least.